least. Hold on. Check one. Check one. There we go. Well, welcome to the show, friends. Before we get started, we have a little introduction video. For the record, I'd just like to show everybody this in particular this morning. This is my apology I got from YouTube. Thanks for your patience. Confirming this was a mistake during the review process. The video is back up and the strike is removed. We're so sorry about that. How many times do you get an apology from YouTube? Not very often. They've been striking everybody for this medical misinformation because of the level of censorship, just as a footnote. But in that regards, tonight's show is a little bit of is humorous in that sense. And welcome everybody. Grab something to drink because we're going to get deep into it. You've never experienced the level of bullshit like you're going to witness tonight, and it's all on the line. In classic form, Rex Frederickson found himself from some fresh meat in that sense, and he was laying it on thick. And instead of hearing it through me, you're going to see in succession, quick succession, just how far he can go. You know, Susan Bennett's a one-upper. You should see Rex one-up this crew. Now we're going to watch that. Actually, it was quite pleasurable for the most part. I've laughed thoroughly through it watching it earlier today. Then they lifted the strike. Now I'm coming back, but I have a bit of an introduction. Remember, because I have a few different songs related to Rex Frederickson that just go just so well with the format and the context we're presenting tonight. Now, before we do, welcome everybody.
Yo, this is for the clout chasers, the fake haters. We see you in the vapors. You sitting there gossiping, acting all tough, but in real life, y'all ain't nothing but fluff. Stalking the records like it's your 9 to 5. While you dream about the life, you're barely alive. Obsessing over drama, acting so tragic. Spinning lies about kids, y'all real magic. Checking on their cycle like what's up with that. Spewing toxic fumes, but we ain't falling flat. It's resentment, pure and raw. Y'all exposed like a toothless jaw. Crying online, begging for that green, while Katie Tyrant, Mr. 303, living the dream. Crying in your crew, y'all stuck in your pain. Talking trash cause you got no game. Hate spreads easy when love's out of sight, but we shine while you fumble in the night. Crying in your crew, y'all just wasting air. Tearing others down cause you can't compare. AC and Brett, drama bonding real tight. Lying on anyone just to feel right. Ask for weed money like you ain't ashamed, while pretending you somebody playing a game. You're snooping on divorces, what's that prove? You a grown adult, nah you ain't smooth. Talking about disability like it's a joke, but karma's coming for you, don't choke. It's resentment, pure and raw. Y'all exposed like a toothless jaw. Crying online, begging for that green, while Katie Tyrant, Mr. 303, living the dream. Crying in your crew, y'all stuck in your pain. Talking trash cause you got no game. Hate spreads easy when love's out of sight, but we shine while you fumble in the night. Crying in your crew, y'all just wasting air. Tearing others down cause you can't compare. You talk about cycles and kids in your shade, but look in the mirror, you're the one played. Chasing the ones that you wanna be, but you'll never touch the real OGs. Get off your screen, face reality. Stop trying to live in their fantasy. Crawling in your crew, y'all stuck in your pain. Talking trash cause you got no game. Hate spreads easy when love's out of sight, but we shine while you fumble in the night. Crowded and crew, y'all just wasting air. Tearing others down cause you can't compare. Yeah, keep crying, keep lying, while we keep rising. Katie, Tyrant, Mr. 303, they living rent-free, but y'all stay lost at sea. Cry baby crew, we see you. Time to grow up or shut up, choose wisely. Yo, this is for the clout chasers, the fake haters. We see you in the vapors.
I forgot I removed myself. Tonight's show, my friends, and welcome everybody. Good to see you. A little bit of a musical interlude and introduction, like just like it was. It's funny now because we're allowed to talk about certain things online. I noticed the new press secretary in the White House. The new press secretary mentioned that the Biden administration gave the all clear and authorization, along with the FAA, in regards to these New Jersey drones. They're up there authorized to do testing, research, two common things that they love to hide behind, as well as all kinds of various other things. And I thought that was an interesting point. Those various other things are the things that we're acknowledging, right? Because of course that comes into line with the bioweapons programs and the fact that they can prop them up there above your head and with a little microwave weapon and really reanimate the plague if they wanted to. Just saying. Now, before we get too far into this, a little story. If you're looking in excuse me, let me rephrase this. I went up and I plugged explain the controversy regarding Rex Allen Frederickson. And many of you have been here for a long time. Most of you know who Rex Allen Frederickson is. I wouldn't feel a complete story if I didn't do some sort of explanation. So I went and I thought, well, I should ask Grok to search things out. And of course, that's X's artificial intelligence. Speaking about AI, did you see that the markets dipped yesterday because of this new AI platform that costs a fraction of the price of OpenAI here? And it had an effect on the markets. It was really interesting to see. However, they're bounced back today. But it just goes to show you the fact that the Chinese release and say that they can do something that's better for a quarter of the price made people sell their shares in NVIDIA when this company ends up using NVIDIA drivers anyway. It's very complex, as you know, but it's interesting to watch the flow and just how fickle some investors are. But in regards to Rex Frederickson here, let me read you what Grok had to say. And it bruised over 15 different web pages on the internets, the interwebs. Rex Allen Frederickson, who, by the way, tonight is introducing himself as Allen to these people. He's already lying like nobody's business. Now, we know him and have been monitoring him for a number of years, probably close to 10. Not quite. It'd be under that. It feels like 8, 9, enough to have a master's. Let's see. They'd probably just give me a doctorate in it, but he's going to be talking about that tonight. You're going to get a kick out of this because he's up there asking which one of these guys has a doctorate in physics too, as though he's insinuating he has one. And all these people don't know him. They're meeting Rex for the first time. And all of you people out there who know Rex have been through the exact same thing as this individual. And I thought, watching this, I was watching this with like a different perspective because I've been through all of the emotions with it. Now I have to narrate it and show you all just how funny this guy and diabolical and pathological he can be. And it's how humans get. And like it or not, it's sourced in trauma and him being encapsulated no matter what it is that he tells you. Okay. And we're not here to poke fun at him. We don't need to at this point. This is just a continuation and a better explanation of the tale in this circumstance. So thank you for joining us. Hello, Trump says. Good to see you. Trump said. Hello, Sally. Let me read what Grok has up here for you. Rex Allen Frederickson, known online as a Beware Mouse, has been at the center of controversy, not only for his vocal support of fringe theories like flat Earth, but also due to his criminal record involving serious charges. Fuck, they said flat Earth in the first sentence. So Grok said flat earther in the first sentence, and this goes on for quite some time. So I'm not sure if you probably, most of you tune out when Rex is on, but I like to poke around a little bit. And a lot of the diehards and people who have been around a while already know about Rex in this circumstance. So I went up there and he didn't like the conversation that we had in regards to something because of the way that I was associating his belief system really to a psychological operation that everybody really outside of people like him known about and know the psychological tactics. See, he seems and claims to know all about it, but he doesn't know that he is the MK Ultra experiment in that sense. And he's been activated. Because as much as he can understand and recognize these psyops, these psychological operations, he can't for the life of him let go of the belief of these little green men from Mars, okay? Which shows you how powerful it is when you can really mislead people into believing anything that you want and separating them from any of that belief because they want to believe so bad is the real effect of this that's being tapped into with the masses, okay? And people, of course, argue where that line is in the job, really, if your art is chaos, looks after itself. Now, he's up there shaming all of these individuals the exact same way. You know how Susan is a one-upper? Susan Bennett from Let's Talk with Susan Bennett is a one-upper. And she has to take other people's stories and she jams them all together and then retells them on some other panel to try to get some sort of social affirmation from them. That's exactly what we're witnessing here tonight, my friends. And it is something to behold. Now let me read this to you. Yeah. Hello, Blue Ivy. It's so good to see you. Rex is a doctor, a professor, a radio personality. He baits these guys so bad you recognize it right away. It doesn't even need any explanation. Now just let me read you about Rex here. Excuse me, hold on. Let me actually bring you in this video file first, then I'll read you this and play the intro because I have an intro song, 3 of them to play in regards to Rex, not in succession but throughout the night. Now they all tell the story too. And you'll sit back and watch and think, if they only knew Rex, they'd have so many things to say to him right now. And Rex takes advantage of that and stomps all over them, all for the opportunity to get a little clip and to make some sort of ridiculous point through his own interpretation. Of course, let's just have a little look-see now. It's called Science Soup over on his channel, Science Soup.
The
let me see here. Rex Allen Frederickson, known online as Beware Mouse, has been at the center of controversy, not only for his vocal support of fringe theories like flat earth, but also due to his criminal record involving serious charges. Here's an overview of the controversy surrounding his charges. Now, the criminal charges, his conviction, Rex Allen Frederickson was convicted of aggravated SA against a minor. The details provided in public records indicate that the assault occurred when Frederickson was 38 years old and the victim was just over 16. This conviction has been documented in various legal and public sex offender registries, notably in Colorado and Illinois. Now, let me remind you, people listening in here tonight, the way that he talks about how he got introduced to this young gal and her statement to police, which is public record, is the same, kind of the same style in which he introduces himself to everybody who's new. He tries to bait you in under false pretense, pretending to be all of these things and have all of this broad, wide knowledge. Meanwhile, he's really engaging with circular talk, and he's only out there preying on the vulnerable and less intelligent than him in that sense. And that's what it comes down to. And that's how he tries to get by. But the problem is he's stuck in repeat. Now, let me continue. Legal actions. Frederickson has been involved in several legal actions following his conviction. One notable case was Rex Allen Frederickson versus Officer McClendon, where he appears to have filed a lawsuit. Although specifics about the outcome are not detailed in the provided information, another legal action, Frederickson versus Landeros, involved allegations that he was prevented from registering as an SO, which touches on issue of due process and equal protection. In regards to his public and online controversy, public perception is Frederickson's criminal history has significantly impacted how he is perceived online, especially within communities discussing conspiracy theories or fringe science. His past has often been brought up to discredit his arguments or to caution against engaging with him. In regards to his YouTube and online presence, there haven't been mentions of Frederickson's YouTube channels being taken down, which could be related to his controversial content or his criminal background. His activities on platforms like YouTube have involved him in debates and discussions where his criminal record occasionally surfaces, leading to further polarization of his audience. The availability of his criminal record through public registries and legal documents online means that his past follows him into every public or online discussion, creating a layer of controversy around his persona. Websites and forums often discuss or warn about his background when his name comes up in any context, whether it's his theories or personal legal battles. Now, his criminal record has been used to question his credibility in debates and discussions, especially when it claims expert knowledge or authority in fields like physics. It even mentions his pathological behavior here. Note to this: his criminal record has been used to question his credibility in debates and discussion like we're about to watch here tonight that he just released hours ago, especially when he claims expert knowledge or authority in fields like physics. He's an expert in physics, but doesn't give a good goddamn about self-care or the condition of his toothless grin, his toothless jaws, the rap song says, which he has claimed to have a PhD in. See, it even says it right here. He claims to walk around and claims to have a PhD in physics. Grok's talking about it. It's amazing. It's amazing. Here, I thought I was delivering to you the news and Grok already knew all about it. However, there is no clear evidence in the provided sources to confirm such academic credentials. Within the flat earth and other conspiracy theory communities, reactions vary. Some supporters might overlook or rationalize his criminal past, focusing solely on his advocacy to their beliefs or for their beliefs. In contrast, critics use his background to argue against his character and, by extension, his theories. The debate often touches on ethical issues like the rehabilitation of offenders versus the public's right to know about past crimes, especially when those individuals are public figures in controversial spaces. In summary, the controversy surrounding Rex Allen Frederickson, aka Beware Mouse, is multifaceted, involving his criminal charges, his legal battles, his online presence, and how these elements intersect with his advocacy for fringe theories. This has led to a significant amount of scrutiny and debate about his character, credibility, and the implications of his past actions on his public life. Thank you very, very much, Grok. Now, let's have a little bit more concise of a summary. Rex Allen Frederickson, also known as Beware Mouse, is controversial due to his criminal conviction for aggravated SA against a minor and his advocacy for flat earth theory. Excellent. Now, shit. Well, now you have, yeah, you're going to get a kick out of him because we've been here covering him. We've got all kinds of funky content. It's good to see you, Guido. Oh, shit. Nobody's so close to David. Oh, my God. Grok does a bang-up job in that regards. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, sweet tea. Although, it depends what it's for. Like I used Google the other day when I had to get the number to my local tire shop. I had to change a wheel bearing in my truck. It's good to see you guys. You guys are going to get a kick out of him. Listen, if you're a fan of listening to grifters grift, liars lie, bullshitters bullshit, and for me, it's an interesting psychological experiment just to observe, just to see how far this liar is going to push the boundaries this time with patterns of behavior that you've witnessed before. And that's what we're really observing. And this one is a hot dog, let me tell you.
The thing about the twin slot experiment is the conclusion of only, whoops. I'm not sure if that worked or not. Hold on.
So here he is. He's joined. So this is how it went down. I noticed that he was streaming. He was streaming this particular video. It's of him. So what he's done is he's grabbed a screen of him joining somebody else's StreamYard panel, and he reorganizes it on the screen. Okay. So it looks like that. That's all he's doing, but he's re-recording it. Then he uploaded it after it was all done. So it's a little bit different of a concept. Watch. Let's see. But listen to it right away. The bullshit is right off the get-go.
Okay.
Let me know if you can hear that okay.
The twin slot experiment is the conclusion of only, whoops. I'm not sure if that worked or not. Hold on. It's the only conclusion I'm looking at is the behavior as energy and the behavior as matter, and the fact that it is wafting on that threshold, and that's the strongest physical evidence I can show, regardless of.
Yeah. See, the one I saw shows actually learned behavior on the part of the plasma, whether it's observed or not.
Okay, where does that information come from?
Most people have been.
In your thesis, where does that information come from for learned behavior? Because I have an answer for that. It's in the systematics.
One was like when it's being observed. The first time they fired the plasma at this board that had 2 slits in it, and they expected just a small number to go through those 2 slits, like, you know, the percentage-wise. If there's a circle you're firing, only the amount that fits through those slits should be shown.
So he joins this panel, okay? He jumps up there, and the first thing he's doing is arguing and mixing up some sort of pseudopsychology with his psychic beliefs and melding them with Alien or Hollywood. It's fantastic. Now, I want you to listen to this song before we get too started. Rex, listen, before we get too far into this. This is for you, my friend. This is called Rex Frederickson Blues.
Rex Frederickson, sitting alone at night, looking back on the days when the world felt right. He loved a woman for 25 years his junior. Now he's paying for it, feeling like life's a rumor. Got his name on a list that he can't escape. Ain't no redemption in the choices we make. Oh Rex, you're a lonely man now. Life's gone sideways, don't know how. Loved it too hard, loved it too fast. Now the love's in the rearview, buried in the past. He was 45, she was barely 20. Thought they had love, but the world had plenty to say. Walking the streets, the shame, it won't fade. Ain't no saving a man who done made his own cage. Now the law's on his back, no place to roam. Can't outrun the blues when they follow you home. Oh Rex, you're a lonely man now. Life's gone sideways, don't know how. Loved it too deep, loved it too long. Now he's humming the price of a love gone wrong.
Not this music. This is all about Rex.
Can't outrun the blues when they follow you home. Oh Rex, you're a lonely man now. Life's gone sideways, don't know how.
Baby boy man. Yeah, you're definitely a pedo, just like Rex. That must probably is Rex.
Late nights with his guitar strings cut like a knife. He wonders if it was love or just the thrill of life. But it don't matter now, cause the damage is done. A name on a list and nowhere to run. Oh Rex, you're a lonely man now. Life's gone sideways, don't know how. Loved her too wild, loved her too real. Now he's living with a heartache, it's all he can feel. Rex Frederickson, sitting in the dark. Once was a lover, now he's just a mark. The blues keep on playing deep in his soul. A man on the list, never made whole.
Oh, hell. Oh, yeah. That's country music for you. No, I wrote this, Sally.
Sitting in the dark, once was a lover, now he's just a mark. The blues keep on playing deep in his soul. A man on the list, never made whole. Rex Frederickson, sitting alone there.
Holy crap. No, once is enough. So here comes Rex introducing himself. He's got his fedora on, of course. Hello, it's me, it's Rex. Take a look. Hello, I want to come up and I want to talk about some pseudoscience with you. I want to talk about some psychic shit. And he starts shaming this guy. He starts shaming him because he's a flat earther. Now, what did Grok even tell you about what Rex is? He's a flat earther. And now he's challenging that theory.
Self.
Because I wouldn't allow it. I wouldn't entertain his nonsense because I called him a flat earther the other day, and I think he wants to shake that image now. So he's going to argue and yell at these guys and overtalk these guys like nobody's business. You've got to listen to him. It's so funny.
One was like when it's being observed. The first time they fired the plasma at this board that had two slits in it, and they expected just a small number to go through those two slits, like, you know, the percentage.
Oh yeah, hello MB, good to see you.
The circle you're firing, only the amount that fits through those slits should be shown on the board that's behind them. So that was the first test, and then they actually like physically watched it, and the second time it happened, all of them, not all, but a larger percentage of them actually angle themselves to go through those slits. Like a learned behavior, like water finding the easiest route type thing. They found that, more of the plasma actually tried to make itself go through the slits rather than hitting that bit of paper or that board or whatever they were using.
It's the after effect. It's the quantum interaction here. Now,
Dave.
The reason why the quantum interaction is important is because as soon as it is observed, it wishes to change behavior, meaning that there's some type of pressure that is occurring when that observation takes place, meaning that it will either become an energy or it's pushing that threshold, is what I'm saying. Okay.
Well, see, I believe it's the fact that, especially seeing as you bring up quantum, the fact that we're thinking about it, does that affect its behavior?
Okay, so where does our thoughts come from?
Watching and thinking about it.
Where does the shape of an atom come from? Where does the shape of a molecule come from? Where does the shape of our thoughts come from?
Here he goes.
And that is in a macro
fractal.
A fractal, what? Let me see here. Rex says you get show out of 100s and you think it's just a panel. Small minds, small results. You go, AB. Dave calls me a woman beater. Let me see. That's King 9. He's good. Let me see. This is Rex in here right now. Rex, I'm trying to tell you that I thoroughly enjoyed watching this panel, and you bullshit these guys. They didn't go for it at the end. If you fast forward right to the end of this, Rex, I'm sorry you stopped in. Are you okay? Is it time to get back to producing your many shows? Gotta load this.
Scientist who's been lying to us for decades, if not centuries.
Well, let's go back to its dependency in order to remain in creation. So
It's dependency in order to remain in creation. Holy shit, these are some deep thoughts with Jack Handy here. It's not too hard to shape these minds, is it? The power of suggestion. Rex is right there to just, take the reins of this psyop. He's going into business for himself.
How is it that this information that created my body, how is it that the information that created a rock ever occurred? There has to be that information stored somewhere, and then energy applied to that information in order to make that information fruition into a matter. So where does that information? It comes from a cymatic.
It comes from a cymatic. Cymatic. This is a new catchphrase, I think, for some sort of psychic energy. Okay, so-called Hollywood psychic energy that they're influencing people with on social media. Okay, and of course Rex is all about it, and it's just tattooed in his brain, and it comes out, and he's trying to gaslight these people with it, and it's not effective, because it comes down to it. Rex is never up there to kind of engage a person in a genuine conversation, is he? And that's what it comes down to. They recognize that they couldn't have a conversation with Rex. He was up there to overtalk them, to yell at them, and they found that out the hard way. And each and every one of you out there that have history with Rex have had the same experience with him at one time or another, or have watched it for years and years and years. And this is just another repeat cycle of that. Oh my gosh. So it's fun though. Of course, you need to pause and you point out just the gibberish and the magical thinking and all of the little, he's putting it in ways that he's seeming to be educated on some sort of topic. You could never exactly figure what that is. He's really trying to push the envelope of, what would you call that? Pseudo-philosophic / psychic endeavors.
The only cymatic that we have in this area is the sun itself, which ties everything else in together. If we have a wave that is the slowest wave built of cymatics, that is in complete saturation, and it's trying to pump more energy into that saturation. Everything comes from the sun. Gold comes from the sun. It's created within those pressures and things like that.
Oh, are you sure about that, Rex? Where? See, I don't want to censor this dude. I want to celebrate his ignorance and his bullshit. Rex is walking around the internet claiming that gold comes from the sun. That's what it comes from. Deep within the sun's rays, in those frequencies. It just animates in front of you.
Within the cymatic engine of the sun.
Hey, Ross.
Using all of the frequencies, not just a single one that we can sample or visualize. So when we take all of these down, it becomes a fractal.
Oh, a fractal. Another little frac. You know, all the word about extraction and of oil resources. Well, he's right on that. He's incorporating fractals in with his gaslight tonight. How handy. Ooh, very catchy, very useful. He's not even a good bullshitter. He's just word salading them. Let me tell you something. Fractal. It's fucking fractal. Macro fractal interpretations of God.
which actually your Fibonacci numbers come into play now. Your
the Fibonacci. What are you looking, staring at the markets? The Fibonacci retracement levels. Oh, speaking of which, markets are down a little bit today. Good to see you, Beav.
golden ratio
Can I turn him up a little bit? I've got him up as far as I can go.
comes into play using these fractals, and most importantly, Magellan's cube, if I'm pronouncing it properly.
Magellan's cube? Are you sure it's not Magellan? But hold on, aren't you the dude who's walking around claiming to have a doctorate in physics? You think that you would at least be able to pronounce the things that you had a doctorate in? And he's up here insisting on these guys. He's presenting some sort of thesis. A thesis is a lot of information within context. And you've done none of that. You've come up here and bullshitted them from the get-go. In fact, they've just tuned out.
Most of these things I have read rather than spoke about.
Hey, just one thing. Where are you streaming, man?
I'm sorry?
Okay. Where are you streaming? Because I can't find WPRPN streaming anywhere.
Oh, I am not streaming right now. I'm just simply recording. Would you like me to stream?
Hey, if you can, because I'll restream you on DLive. Yep.
Okay, I'm on DLive as well. I can go to DLive here. Let me see. And I'll do an intro for us, too. I've got a Beyond Undisclosed intro, so give me 1 second here and let me get this set up.
Yeah, okay, man.
DLive. I'm not on Rumble. It would take...
Is that too quiet for you? Let me see if this... I'm going to take this one out. Let me bring this special one in, because his audio is quite low. Let me just get that link. So that's it downloaded. Let me just have a look. Oh, well, isn't that interesting? Rex has all of a sudden made this video private. He's had a temper tantrum, it looks like. He's made it private, so this is an exclusive. This is now exclusive. Let me see. I have to go pull this one over to the back, because I know he gets up to trickery like this. I've got it downloaded, and I've got it screen recorded, just partially though. But this part is funny enough. I cut it when I knew that I had enough. Oh shit! Let's play it. Hit it, John. Let's see. I'll do it like this. Oh, actually, I can just pull it right in. I don't have to use the player. Oh, look at his fancy new intro. Is that audio a lot different? A lot louder, probably. It's probably louder. That's all right. We already got everything that we needed there anyway there, Sally.
The plasma, whether it's observed or not.
Okay, where does that information come from?
Most people have been.
In your thesis, where does that information come from?
In your thesis?
Behavior?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm just
occurring when that observation takes place, meaning that it will either become an energy or it's pushing that threshold, is what I'm saying. Okay.
see, I believe it's the fact that, especially seeing if you bring up quantum, the fact that we're thinking about it, does that affect its behavior?
Okay, so where does our thoughts come from?
Watching and thinking about it.
Where does the
that
shape?
change
Where
what
does
it
the
does?
shape of an atom come from? Where does the shape of a molecule come from? Where does the shape of our thoughts come from?
She's just like Jody Sue Brown. Where does the shape of our thoughts come from? You are a special one, Rex. Man, that's such a deep thought, dude. That's such a deep thought, bro. You should stay away from science, Rex. How dare you?
And that is in a macro
It's really
fractal.
some scientists
Macro
who've been
fractal.
lying to us for decades, if not centuries.
So this guy's got the right idea. They've been lying to us. But listen, dude, instead of coming to, he's probably just recognized you had that coming to the Matrix moment. You're gonna have to get over it, son. They've been lying to everybody. There's a reason. All right. And it has to do with protecting power. They don't need you knowing everything. And this fucking idiot, he just pretends he knows everything. And that's what we're really watching. And Rex wants to poison the minds of these dudes and see how much. This is what he gets some sort of weird thrill out of it. And this is the diabolical part to Rex, because you can't figure out why it is he's so dead set on presenting himself as such a pathological liar. It's the most bizarre behavior that you'll ever see. It has to have something to do with being encapsulated and traumatized by his own poor decision making when he was younger. Because he uses the exact same story, the same sort of lies every single time. He bases it off of this fantasy in which he's some sort of really popular DJ or this experienced producer. He has all kinds of this amazing experience in broadcasting, but he can never really figure out exactly how to turn his audio up to the proper levels, how to do anything right. All right. He sucks. He hasn't made $1 broadcasting since 2018. And somebody probably sent him a PayPal.
Well, let's go back to it's
how do I know this?
tendency.
Because I used to send him pity PayPal donations, and people used to get mad at me for supporting his pedo ass. They said, I'm just like, fuck, this dude entertained me with some crazy stuff. At least I give him some dog food or cat food, because what he does is he loves to sucker you in with all of his animals around. But it's just, of course, I don't have any negative thoughts or hope of any ill will towards him. It's just the fantastical pathological behavior that he exhibits I find fascinating. Some people will never change in that sense. In regards to liars, like it's such a bizarre behavior, human behavior. You think once you know the truth, you can become more comfortable in your own skin and get on with things. But no, he's stuck in this cycle of repeat where he refuses to give in to reality, which everybody around him already knows. And he doubles down every single time on these blatant lies. And to observe this behavior is rare. And this is what we're here doing.
In order to remain in creation. So how is it that this information that created my body, how is it that the information that created a rock ever occurred? There has to be that information stored somewhere, and then energy applied to that information in order to make that information fruish it into a matter. So where does that information? It comes from a cymatic. The only cymatic that we have in this area is the sun itself, which ties everything else in together.
Wow. Do you see how that works?
If we have a wave that is the slowest wave built of cymatics that is in complete saturation, and it's trying to pump more energy in.
That's the problem there. Curly. Your cymatics is in complete saturation.
That saturation, everything comes from the sun. Gold comes from the sun.
Oh, fuck, there we go again. Gold coming from the sun again. Well, let's go.
Created within those pressures and things like that within the cymatic engine of the sun, using all of the frequencies, not just a single one that we can sample or visualize. So when we take all of these down, it becomes a fractal, which actually your Fibonacci numbers come into play now. Your
perpetual futures, anybody? Yes. Your Fibonacci retracement levels.
Golden ratio comes into play using these fractals, and most importantly, Magellan's cube. if I'm pronouncing it
Magellan. Who?
properly.
What?
Most of these things I have read rather than spoke about.
Hey, just one thing. Where are you streaming, man?
I'm sorry?
Where are you streaming? Because I can't find WPRPN streaming anywhere.
Oh, I am not streaming right now. I'm just simply recording. Would you like me to stream?
Hey, if you can, because I'll like restream you on DLive. Yep.
Okay, I'm
I'll
on
promote
DLive
the
as
show.
well. I can go to DLive here. Let me see. And I'll do an intro for us, too. I've got a beyond undisclosed intro, so
Unmasking the intricate web.
we were playing with and no internet. So we all did that manual search ourselves. We have with us, if you guys can self-introduce yourself.
So look what he's putting them through. Look at what this guy's putting him through. He's making these guys this dude from New Zealand live streams himself 24/7. That's all he does. So most just thought he'd jump up there.
Well, I'm Alan Mosdale from Australia. I've been doing a show on YouTube and other platforms for a couple of years. Do about once a week, and I just basically read the news and some news, and then get DK on quite often, or sometimes Vinny, get occasional guests, and have a chat.
You bet.
And DK.
Yeah, talk about putting the guy on the spot. Go ahead and self-introduce yourself. Go ahead and do all the work for me. Thank you. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for my top tier television program here? Completely unscripted. It's what my viewers like. Yeah, the viewers like the fact that you put absolutely no work into anything.
And me, I'm some dick from New Zealand like Vinny, but he's not as much of a dick as me. He does more interviews.
We've got two fresh ones here.
Yeah.
This is perfect. Two fresh dudes here for Rex.
More blatant everything I find. But I stream 24/7 on DLive.
Gotcha.
As in,
Okay.
DK Conspiracy 123 is 24/7 on DLive. So this shit is always.
This guy's like Big Brother's wet dream. He just live streams. He saves them the cost of having to go in there with their Pegasus software or anything and break in and surveil you. You just broadcast yourself 24/7. No privacy here. Who needs privacy? He doesn't even have a life.
On. That's why I wanted a link so I could actually put your stuff on, but I can't actually get it. I don't know why.
I put it in the chat in Skype. There's a link there.
All right, check that if you can, Alan.
Yeah, everything
Hey,
else I
Vinny.
have to go in and, prepare the RNTP and go through a lot of stuff. DLive, I can just hit it and go. So.
Yeah. I've got DLive set up for that. Every time you go to Rumble, it's like you have to reset everything and then re-input the keys and shit.
Yeah, I know. It's annoying. I only do it once a day. I reset my stream. I am 24 hours normally on Rumble and DLive and stuff like that. Today has been an exception. I've been doing a lot of server work. You guys remember how to reinstall FileZilla? Remember that old FTP program? I'm having my adventures trying to get around a router with that. So. But yeah,
you're having some adventures trying to get around your router with FileZilla. What sort of weird shit are you getting up to, Rex? I don't even believe it.
There's always dramas. This is the thing. It's an ongoing, constant drama. So we do what we can, and every once in a while we run into a problem. So we do what we can to fix it and keep going.
Right. Yeah. You run into a problem. First step: smoke joint.
I can't do that here. It's illegal. In
Second step: grab rear.
How many doctors do you know have missing teeth that walk around and have teeth rotting out of their mouths? Especially doctors of physics.
Second step: grab a beer. Now you guys fucking got beer down there that's fucking envious. Okay.
Rex, your mouth looks like a goddamn Dr. Fauci experiment.
Most of the beer ever made in the U.S. is nothing more than PX spirits, 3.5 beer. Okay, I went over to Germany for a year, came back. I couldn't drink American beer for over 5 years, and that was just simply the smell of it. Yeah.
He's so hardcore. He's so hardcore into Bavarian beer that he can't drink American water.
That was amazing. But you guys got good beer down there. I've had some of it shipped up.
Yeah, see, New Zealand beer is standardly.
You've had some great beer shipped up to where you are. What like Foster's? Did you have some Foster's lager?
So yeah, it's almost like drinking water unless you drink it fast.
Yeah.
Right.
No, in Australia is generally 4.5, 5.
Everybody likes
Australian
Bud.
beers.
Come on.
Yeah, we're tough for over in Australia.
Dude, you fucking got
Like a gay lovers, these two. And of course Rex is up there. You guys want to be long distance romance partners?
drunk and you're sick
Now,
today.
what-
What the fuck are you on about?
If I wanted to sit there and focus on a hotbed, if I'm looking globally,
You guys want to join Rex's
okay,
OnlyFans?
and I want to find a hotbed of all this activity, where would I look? Australia?
Australia is extremely crazy. America's crazy. Ukraine's crazy. Romania.
Well, I wasn't speaking of world health. I'm just saying activity.
What I'm saying is like, yeah, I actually do know all about this shit, man. Like, I really do all this deep dive fucking looking into all this crazy crap for years.
The link's in the chat room.
Yeah, no,
So
the thing of it is, have you heard of a gentleman by the name of John Rickey? Okay, he wrote a book that actually explains gravity.
Who is this John Rickey that you speak about? Anybody know this John Rickey who wrote a book about gravity? Probably just making it up.
And if you try to apply his theories or his thesis in with anything currently running, it's just like running into a brick wall. But if you apply his thesis with mine, all of a sudden we have gone from a framework of description to the actual mathematics and a whole new form of viewpoint. Now, things like antimatter, the behavior of antimatter. What happens if you have two signals that are simply out of phase of each other? They cancel each other out, right? So it's not antimatter, it's matter.
Interference.
Our description is antimatter. Instead, we should say matter opposite polarity.
Oh, look at how easy that was. Isn't that what we should say? Matter. And what about polarity?
When you try to sit there and bring these two things in contact, they cancel each other out.
Oh, I see what you're trying to say, Rex. Something about it just cancels each other out, thereby whatever thought that was brought up is completely disregarded.
Releasing all the energy in the bond. That's the reason why you have such a violent reaction.
I would call it matters not.
Within the framework that they're working with the Einstein Foundation, okay, everything starts to fall apart, and you have.
Did you see that? He didn't like that. They're laughing at Rex. They're mocking you already. Allow me to talk. Allow Rex to complete this sentence.
To sit there and say, "Oh, well, I blame God for that." Okay, like the third body motion. Okay, well, the only thing it fixes is God. God comes along every now and then and fixes it.
Dude, it's externalizing any of your actions and trying to blame it on a created entity.
Exactly.
Like, don't get me wrong, I believe in God.
But wait a second. If I can show
anything happens to you on
if I can show you the mathematical fractal,
everything is someone else's fault. That is a complete cop-out bullshit idea.
Now, if I can show the mathematical formula that would create the shape and identity of DNA, the spiral helix. And I can show that in a fractal contained within the cymatics. Would that convince you? Because
No,
otherwise you wouldn't have that pre-design. But take a look at where we're going here. If that fractal is...
Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rex. 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 There I am. Nah, I'm my cable's fucked up, Trump. Sometimes it knocks itself out. I got it.
creating the...
Trans. No, I wouldn't give a shit if you showed me that.
That'd be good to see, though. Hello.
I have seen where people have showed the DNA and said that they've actually managed to
But
print it out.
they can't
And
describe where that shape
an
comes
actual
from.
message in the DNA.
In the current...
But if you vaccine, they're introducing a third strain of DNA instead of just the two. So now it's a triple helix, not a double helix, and you're no longer human. Have you heard about that?
Yes, I have. I'm not talking about artificial creation. Artificial creation, as long as it creates matter, we have the ability to manipulate that matter ourselves and use metallurgy and other things in order to change the characteristics of that. Now, if you want to talk about that, we can talk about the Hutchinson effect, where he actually found what would be the equivalent of a socket wrench set of all different sizes in order to turn on and off different attributes of matter. Whether they react to gravity, whether they don't react to gravity, whether they act and have a surface tension or not, and remove that surface tension so that two pieces of matter can actually occupy the same space using the space between the molecules, destroying that surface tension of that matter so they actually sink into each other without displacement. And he's proven this in his experiments.
It kind of sounds like a cooling tower. You just described like a cooling tower for cooling the water in a nuclear facility. Only psychologically, with thoughts instead of water. Oh my God.
There's always going to be, going to be some sort of displacement. Even though they can move
there is none.
Together.
In his, no, there's zero displacement. That's the reason why he had the government come down on him.
Anyone respond?
Go ahead.
Do you not think there'd be an increase in size or something if two things merge? There is definitely going to be some displacement. No matter which way you look at it, you cannot merge two things together and go, yep, nothing happened, sweet as. That has never happened, and any
except the samples from John Hutchinson. That's what makes it unique about John Hutchinson. He actually took a titanium rod from a nuclear application, a titanium rod, and melted it at room temperature.
Guess what? Every scientist got paid by someone to lie to you. Once you realize that, you might actually start working shit out for yourself.
Okay.
Instead
well,
of repeating what
let's get rid of John Hutchinson. We'll go from my own personal experience. How about that? Very similar line of using a Van de Graaff generator and having directed energy. Okay. The same technique he's using, and using cymatics in order to turn off the attributes that would otherwise be natural of this density of material or whatever it is in the periodic chart. It's a repeated cycle of how it is affected by gravity, What's the surface tension? Just like in that of a rainbow, within the frequency range of that particular periodic chart item. So what he was able to do was go in and turn off the surface tension of titanium so it turned into jello at room temperature. This is not a...
See, that's...
So, believe it or not, Rex is explaining something that does actually exist. But he's got everything all jumbled up in that sense. But his reason for bringing it up is still murky and unclear. But there's always an element of truth to something that he brings up. He's explaining a microwave weapon or a directed energy weapon in that sense. The Bill Cosby effect, yeah. But the way that he's bringing it up is using it out of context and trying to bring and engage the other person into this, all while fishing for all kinds of information, right? And trying to impress upon them his deep knowledge of a subject. Like, believe it or not, there is a little bit of sanity to his method. I really appreciate that, Ross. A new DNA test has been discovered. The scent gas from a fart can be captured in a bottle and DNA extracted. Be careful where you fart. That's true. That could be possibly true. That would be one hell of a way to get it. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Ross.
That's not... See, I actually agree with that. I have no idea how to do it. But I believe that is how the pyramids and the Sphinx and everything work.
So the problem is the same people who control the information about that weaponry also control all of the information that you receive about the weaponry in that sense. And I can point you in the direction of September 11th events and the spiral, the 900-foot spiral left over from Tower 1 that disintegrated, as an example. And that's you could get all of that, these ideas and understanding from places like Rumble, which I think is where Rex was. But it's not I'm not trying to say that Rex doesn't know anything about DEWs in that sense, but he's got the reason he's bringing it up is still a bit unclear in that sense.
You're talking about liquefied. No, that's all cement. Don't worry about it. That is actually all cement.
So they could get things into place and do it.
Okay, the pyramids were made by cement. They weren't solid rocks when they were moved. That's the reason why they have such a minimal gap between.
The thing is see how easily suggestible a person is. Like, in reality, it's pretty amazing. The pyramids are amazing. They are even more amazing when they were capped, stoned all off, and finished up when they were just built in that circumstance. The fact that they're just big rocks is a demonstration to others that a person like Rex has no fucking idea about human trafficking or just what 10,000 slaves can get done when you put them to the whip over generations. Look about all the work that goes into cathedrals and how beautiful cathedrals are over a period of 400 years are. It's an emphasis on the human spirit. But with that, it's an emphasis on slavery and the pain that humans go through or get made to be put through. Depends what perspective you're looking at it from. But he's always wanting to talk about how the technology of it and where it came from, because he's immersed in the psychological influence operations that are out there to mislead you, and he's loving that.
Between them, the I can't pronounce it. Pinka something, South America. I keep saying Pikachu.
I was about to say
you're talking about Machu Picchu.
That's it, Machu Picchu.
Yes,
Now, Machu Picchu is earthquake-proof and everything else, but they have discovered the mythology that they actually use.
You don't know the ancient capital of the Inca, Machu Picchu, and here he's claiming to be a doctor of physics. He's like a Three Stooges doctor. Thank you very much for the gifting, MB. I really appreciate that. It's very generous, darling.
They actually built a frame where the brick was. They filled that frame with a liner, and they've poured the frame with concrete. And then when the frame falls away and you add, 1,000 years, any evidence of that frame or any evidence of the things behind them, they settle and they're perfect. They're absolutely perfect. The same way goes with the Roman concrete. Okay, they're being misidentified as a conglomerate.
I disagree on the fact that it was concrete. They had a method they could do it with actual stone.
The problem is when you measure the curvature. When you measure the curvature.
So here he goes. Now it's important to point this part out because it's his first attempt at trying to spin things against this guy, calling him out as being a flat earther when everybody knows Rex is the flat earth advocate in that sense. Even Grok knows that.
Around the edges of those stone.
Look, I move thousands of pounds of equipment with a little bit of PVC pipe and some leverage.
They wanted.
When you measure the curvature around,
imagine what you can do with a bunch of ropes and 10,000 men. Come on. Not that it matters much, but he's on that it's poured concrete now. I don't think so.
on those stones. Okay.
That's what I said. It's not concrete. They found a way.
It was poured concrete.
Stone malleable and do that. No, they found a way to make stone malleable, and they used actual stone. It wasn't concrete.
That's coming up.
This is why
it was a conglomerate. It becomes hard, and with leaching,
trying to defend itself because it can't actually come up with an answer to half of the things that have been done.
Yes, so we can. Example: there is actual. I'm sorry. Let's let Vinny go for a second.
Everyone still goes, but the science.
Let's let Vinny go for a second. He's had a couple places he's tried to hype in here. Go ahead.
Well, we could resolve this by making a little miniature of it, and we can call it not that Machu Picchu.
Yeah.
Mini Picchu. Not Machu Picchu, Mini Picchu.
But we want something to be mysterious. We want
Minu Pichu. Now he's coming down on these guys. Oh, you don't like what I had to say? Well, I'm gonna shit all over your flat Earth theory while secretly hold it close to my heart.
We want something to be mythical. We want something to be undiscovered that is yet to be discovered. When we're talking about the construction of these here, it is not that freaking complicated. All right.
I don't want that. See, you're trying to make it out to be mystical. No, I believe they had methods back in the day where they could actually make stone and everything malleable.
Yeah, and after you mix concrete, wait 1,000 years and see if it doesn't turn in.
This guy's fucking on crack. Dude, what would be the point of liquefying stone? To move it? How are you going to control it? Where are you going to go? What sort of goddamn video game do you live in? What's wrong with just cutting the stone? Okay, it's a very ancient tradition. Ask the stonemasons. What's wrong with cutting it, flipping it, and transporting it like they do and have done? Fucking magic of a transport truck.
To a conglomerate.
No, you keep saying concrete, like science solved it. Well, it's actually just concrete. It's not. It's not concrete.
That's what they said about the Colosseum.
Well, technically, if you grind limestone down and you mix it with water and let it dry out, it's concrete. But you have to shave it Why not just cut stone, sandstone, big rock? And people do. People use water to cut rock. You can split rock by drilling a bunch of small holes and hitting them with a fucking hammer and fracturing rock, okay? Like marble. What's wrong with that? Why does somebody have to fuck it up? Do you know why they do that? Because that's how you handle rock. Because it's not liquid. So why would you want to put all the energy into changing states of something that already is when you can manage it just fine the way that it is? Here, do you know what we do? We take out the whipping, we whip bitches like you to get over and pick it up and to walk it over to where I want it. And then we whip people like Rex to put it up just the way that we'd like.
The Colosseum until they realized it was concrete. I mean, every single rock that the pyramid is made of is a conglomerate.
Who said? Have you been there to see that it was concrete?
You could say that. Yes, historically, he's never changed in that sense. He used to, but the money's far left him because he's not good at his game. His game is no good. He can't get past the fact that nobody can take him seriously because he misrepresents himself, misidentifies himself. He only identifies as a radio talk show host. He doesn't actually have any of these or do any of the things that he says.
I haven't.
Everyone agrees that has visited there that it is a conglomerate. What is concrete? A conglomerate. Regardless of whether we're using lye and other things like that we're familiar with, after 10,000 years of sitting there, it'll turn...
You idiot. Lye. Lye is a completely different chemical. Lye is what you use for cleaning things. You meant lime. Like limestone and lime. So you can alter the hardness of the concrete in that sense. Holy shit. The fucking word salading us. Don't let him give you the benefit of the doubt. You're getting lazy. Don't let your mind go there.
Worse than stone. It will sit there and leach from all of its components to...
See, he doesn't actually have a point. He's just up there to argue his cockamamie nonsense. And he'll back up any sort of bullshit that comes out of his mouth.
Create a singular...
concrete. Yeah, you're using the word concrete to describe the fact that they had a process we don't know.
No, we know about it. We grind up rocks, we mix lye with it, and then we have concrete.
No, we don't. We know how to make concrete. We don't know how to make that shit.
I will say that I will back you if you want to say the foundation stones, those really big ones underneath the concrete or underneath the pyramid, those were moved, and I can even show you how. Okay, take your cell phone, put it on vibrate. Take your cell phone, put it on vibrate, and set it on the bar. Okay?
Please let me destroy your theory on that. Go nuts, bro.
It's simple. Take your cell phone, put it on vibrate, stick it on the bar. When someone calls you, what's it going to do? Bounce all over the bar. Same thing. It doesn't matter how many. You inject that kind of energy and let it build up at a harmonic, just like Tesla sit there and damn near brought down the house. Okay, you can sit there at higher frequencies, and those higher frequencies are recorded in the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. Those frequencies and those somatic patterns are actually recorded. In addition to that, the somatic patterns that were recorded in the Mayan ruins, which were the same ones, because you can go out there and find them. There's a lot of them that has been destroyed that are still intact going over to Egyptian ones, and vice versa.
I agree with that. There was definitely an advanced civilization that knew how to do this shit, and they traveled the whole entire world.
It has nothing to do with anything but vibration. That's how Edward...
and there's the same things inscribed on these structures in almost every country around the world. So there is no way that anyone can doubt that there was an ancient civilization
that was global.
That actually traveled around world and do all of this.
Tell me, have you gone back in your studies far enough in order to know that we're the... Have you gone back...
Here he goes. Excuse me, pardon me. Have you gone back in your studies? He's just thinking of words he can use to step on him with.
I need to find out whether or not you have a basis to go...
How shit happened while lying to
He just told these guys that he needs to question their educational background so he knows exactly how to speak to them, exactly how to present, so therefore you would understand from such an advanced human being like Rex. Listen to this.
Over to Egyptian ones, and vice versa.
I agree with that. There was definitely an advanced civilization that knew how to do this shit, and they traveled the whole entire world.
It has nothing to do with anything but vibration.
Oh, really, Jim? It's good to see you. Jim Rhodes, who knows Rex quite well. Just a heads up, the guy he referred to earlier, this John Ritchie, is a guy who's in charge of this Stream Life and is working with Rex on the whole home network garbage. Thank you very much.
That's how Edward...
And there's the same things inscribed on these structures in almost every country around the world.
Oh, so let me ask you something. Jim Rhodes, gentleman Jim, let me ask you, how far back in your studies of Rex Frederickson have you got? I need to know exactly when to understand just how smart you think you are. This is what Rex is going to do to this guy in a sec.
Anyone can doubt that there was an ancient civilization
that was global.
That actually traveled around the world and do all of this.
Tell me, have you gone back in your studies far enough in order to know that we're the... Have you gone back? I need to find out whether or not you have a basis to go...
How shit happened while lying to us all the damn time.
So this question that Rex asks is something that you would normally process in your mind before you get into any sort of conversation with somebody else about such cockamamie nonsense. But that was never Rex's intention. He meant to get up here and he wants to challenge these people in front of a camera because he thinks it makes himself look more intelligent in among this group of flat earthers.
Okay, can we back up just a little bit? I need to verify some of the foundation you're working with. Have you stumbled across the fact that we are human 7.0? Have you stumbled across the fact that the writings that they are claiming are 10,000 years old from these cultures are actually 100,000 years old with time compression in order to confuse the issue? Are you prepared in order to say that? So the Mayan writings are not 10,000 years old, and
the things are 2.5 times older than the pyramids. They were trying to say the pyramids were 10,000 years old, and the Sphinx is 25,000 year old.
From my research, I'm getting around 80,000. From my research, I'm getting around 80,000 years old, but there's also two different buildings.
Rex's research is probably a lot more accurate than anything that you've done. So he thinks.
Of it, and it's not the one that's commonly said.
Years old.
There was more than one build of it and more than one attempt. Okay, and that was well over 100,000 years ago. That was generation 3 and generation 4 that actually created the pyramids. We're generation 7.
Yeah, that's wrong. All right, science keeps trying
Gen
to say
7.
something, and we keep trying to find.
It's like the F-16 is like a generation 3 fighter. Raptor would be like a generation 5. Wow.
And well, we keep finding that they're wrong, but that is what I'm getting at. And so if you're just going to base yourself on any modern science, I'm definitely going to be able to disprove it.
Well, that's because I'm changing the framework of how that science is described, and that's where I kind of started this.
I don't like being in an echo chamber. I love actually talking with people who have different opinions.
No, I
It's
agree
like-
with that. I
it
mean,
makes
I
it
agree with that,
inter-
but there's things that we can agree about with this thesis that have an absolute rock foundation and observable science. Okay, this is not something we need to go out and re-observe. Okay, it supports every single mathematical formula that we have come up with under the framework of Einstein. However, it does not
Einstein
cover
was
things
a
like spooky.
fraud.
It doesn't spooky effects. Okay, antimatter, the things that science under the framework of Einstein cannot explain.
Don't
I
bring-
can
don't
explain
bring back to
under the
modern
framework of
science.
unified difference.
Einstein was a fake Jew fraud. He stole his theory of relativity,
Regardless of whether he
someone
come,
else, and it's been disproven.
the only reason why I'm saying Einstein is because it's a reference to the theory, not the fact that Einstein make it. I could care less if his name was Frankenstein. Okay.
Modern science as your justification for anything you're saying. You are constantly using modern scientists to actually defend your position, and I consider it to be completely wrong.
I'm not using modern science, and I'm not defending my position. I haven't been able to describe my position.
Einstein is modern science.
I've been working on this question for over 30 years. And it wasn't until last October.
We can talk lots more. We can talk lots more offline.
It wasn't
about
until
this
last
because
October
I had
that
a
a key
lot to
came
say
into
on this.
my possession. A key that came into my possession was the terminology, the original meaning of ether, which applies to plasma, which applies to all of these other things, and without one you cannot study the other. In addition to that, the ether is actually what's recording our existence in time. It's also supplying the energy that remains intact. In other words, every time we have a constant flow of energy that is passing through us that is reinforcing the
Yeah, you can stop right there. 5G. It's disrupting your mitochondria.
information there. That information, some of it, with all of this energy, is being washed away, causing apathy.
Well, the way
So
it works
my
is
description,
that
they can't describe
ether
apathy.
constantly
They cannot describe apathy in any of the conventional theories. In mine, you can.
Information, always. The ether constantly supplies ideas and information. It's just whether or not you grab onto it when it's given to you and write it down so that you can remember it.
Oh,
'Cause those
I've
are
got it wrote
fleeting
up.
Moments.
I
If you
have
don't write
my
shit down
thesis
when
wrote up.
you
Yes.
get that idea, it's gone. You
Vinny-
could have had the most profound idea in the world and forget it 10
Vinny,
seconds later.
do you have anything in order to ask? Because I mean, we have gotten pretty far into this theory now. Do you have anything to add or ask? Hello, Vinny.
Why do you think they removed ether from the periodic table?
Because it leads directly to the proof of God within the field of science.
Actually, it kind of disproves God
No,
and leads
because
well,
who made the behaviors of the cymatics that allow life on this universe? What created the cymatics in order to create you? What created the cymatics? This had to be pre-planned before the very first molecule was ever created anywhere. This had to be pre-planned. In addition to that, the alien interview suggests that there's multiple dimensions, but not all of them support life. That would also explain why the bleed over from our dimension to a higher dimension, or vice versa, whatever it is, wherever our position is in that, the bleed over fades away till the point where the definition of the fractal does not include the existence of life. Now we have gotten these little clues from all these different places, and I'm sorry, use the alien interview. It says, hey, this is a fact, and not all of them support life. You go back into mainstream science, they agree. We have 12, which is wrong, 12 different dimensions that we're working with, not infinite, but 12 basic ones, which is the most sound theory. But they forget one thing. Where does the sound come from? Where does the sound come from? It comes from the 13th dimension.
I can actually challenge all of it.
So you have the 13 dimensions sitting at middle.
You're using the word alien when the word they actually use is extraterrestrial.
I'm not talking about
the
that.
Extraterrestrial means other land.
I'm not
it
talking
doesn't
about
mean other planet.
the dimensions. How many dimensions there are is what I was discussing.
That's why you kept using the word alien.
No, I haven't used the word alien.
Country is an alien. The use of the word alien is redundant. It means nothing anymore. And all you're doing is using modern science to
I do apologize. I do apologize. Who has the PhD for physics?
That I don't know what I'm talking about.
Who has a PhD?
Bro, I've been able to actually talk.
see, who has a PhD in physics, my good man? Who among you have a PhD in physics like I, Rex Frederickson?
About every single thing you've mentioned, and all you keep doing is reverting back to modern science.
No, I haven't. As a matter of fact, I've destroyed modern science and everything that I've said. The framework is wrong. That's the whole discussion here, is the framework.
It's physical fucking scientific proof.
Right. We have a framework that's broken, and I'm describing a framework that is better in order to sit there and put all these things together. It has a better explanation for it than the current framework that we're using with modern science, and then you tell me I'm sitting there supporting it with modern science. I'm not.
You are, because you've referred to nothing but modern science.
I did say
Okay, how about non-existent science? Can I refer to that? I can't refer to something that doesn't exist, and then we have no point of reference. So you want to remove my point of reference when I'm disproving these things that are modern science, and I'm disproving each one of them one step at a time using this framework. That this here is the right framework than modern science that we're working with. Okay, so I'm confused by that.
Modern science.
I'm confused by that.
Right. Okay, here's something that most people fail to understand. Most of the people in charge of us are between, depending on which source you ask, are between 30 and 60 years in advance of the technology we currently have. So they actually already know all this shit, but they're still busy lying to us about all this shit. But direct energy weapons were a fucking conspiracy theory till the UK and the Pentagon admitted, yeah, we have that shit.
Yeah, they all admitted they have it and they've used it, and they all said that we can't talk about it in front of the cameras. He's got a point. He's identifying the matrix, bro.
How long do you think they had it for before they told you they had that shit? This is what I'm talking about.
All right.
You have been.
If you're asking me, if you're asking me as an expert, I can tell you. I can tell you that in 1970.
See what he did there? I can tell you he just wants to emphasize he's an expert at what it is that you're trying to figure out.
Excuse me, in 1877, I believe it was, that a man from a place like Oxford built his own UFO using lens effect, which is a Kurbacek flyer. Okay, and he demonstrates the Kurbacek flyer with magnetic rotating fields. And then we have a photograph from 1877, that shows in the same style of the.
Have you noticed how dirty his fingernails are? His fingernails are filthy. Take a look at those.
Oxford built his own UFO using lens effect, which is a Kurbacek flyer. Okay, and he demonstrates the Kurbacek flyer with magnetic rotating
Good to
fields.
see you, Tate.
And then we have a photograph from 1777, or excuse me, 1877, that shows in the same style of the build of the technology that they had at that day. Okay, a UFO sitting over Main Street, taking a photograph using a tin rather than a regular, so when you sit there and use a tin, you've got how many minutes, how much of a process do you have? You're not going to be able to fake photography dating back to 1877. You're going to have problems
Good night,
with,
Ross.
different things to sit there and,
Hey,
so.
Do you really think their technology isn't better than what
Do you
know?
really think they had
This is the
Adobe
problem.
Photoshop back in
this is the
1877?
problem you have. Their technology is well in advance of our technology. Of course they can do it.
That was man-made UFO. That's how far behind we are in education. That's the reason why they removed, in 1956, they removed plasma from the curriculum in high school.
I got videos of this shit from the 1800s. I have videos of all this. And you're still thinking that science is right and they've never lied to you. I have videos of people flying around on single-person manned craft that
I'm still
hovers off the
listening.
ground and fucking flies around.
No, he's not. Rex only is interested in what it is that he has to say, and then he bails like he's doing here, leaving the people he engages with unsatisfied in the conversation. He's just so rude in that sense. He has to drive home whatever point makes him look what he feels is in the right in any situation. But ask him the context in which he's talking. There is none. There never has been, so he can't answer it.
Yes, they had all this shit. They've taken it all of us. They used to have. That's what I mean, but yeah, we're not allowed it. No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
May I ask who has the PhD in physics here? Is it you, Vinny?
I got a PhD in baking. It's not a PhD. Yeah,
Well,
I'm
is he the
just a
one that-
working man. I'm no scientist.
Is
But
he the
I
one
do
that's
have-
the expert in with plasma, or is Vinny?
Ooh, he's got a
Thunder, no. I'm not playing feed the cat right now. Gets up and he sits there and he gets on my keyboard deliberately to get my attention.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Rose, is it maybe it's you with the PhD?
Yeah, so quite.
Damn it, I can't
But Robert
believe
said-
the argument was just as I walked out.
What question was that?
Who else here has a PhD in physics? What he really means by asking that question is, who here has an indoctrination by the Rockefellers for at least 4 years?
That I can destroy. Yes.
But do you? Because I've destroyed everything you say because you keep bringing up scientists. Because you keep referring back to the shit you've been indoctrinated with. Whereas I never was, which is why I don't have all that shit dragging me back.
This is a new place, Jim. This is a new place. I think he found on. I can't remember. This gentleman streams his life nonstop, and he's talking about the right things. And he sounds pissed off about it, but Rex, he must have rang a bell with Rex, and he just randomly joined the panel to challenge him on his a couple of topics. But we really know that is to get him hoodwinked and to impress upon them just how smarter Rex thinks he is than them.
Dragging me down and holding me back.
How'd you
You're
ever
stuck
identify
with the
it with
shit
shit
you've
if you
been
never made a
No,
comparison to
you
your...
are stuck with the shit you've been told.
How did you
But
identify it as shit if you did?
Rex doesn't give a shit. He's sitting here eating this big sandwich, and fighting over the cat over the meat on the sandwich, and all of his rusty teeth are hanging out. He's got no cares in the world.
Didn't compare your information with what they're saying.
I've destroyed everything everyone says. Gravity's not real.
It is.
Space is real.
It is. Define real.
No, it's not.
Define real.
Space is
Before I
gay,
get Carl
just like
Lentz on
this.
here, if you want to play a word game, that's fine.
Like
But
gay,
before
just
I
like
get
me.
Carl
Don't pay
Lentz
attention.
on here, do you know who Carl Lentz is?
Shit, I
loves
know
Carl
the name.
Lentz.
Carl Lentz
remind
is
me.
a common law lawyer. Okay, he works in England, he works in Canada, he works in America. He'll walk in and say, well, who's the man that stands before me that gives me charges? Who's responsible
Yeah,
for this? That's the first thing out of his freaking mouth, and they've never charged him.
I've been trying to learn, and fuck common law, I've been trying to learn natural law.
Well, I've been describing it
Common
to
law,
you.
you're still standing under a form of law. Natural law means you are a standing, living man or woman. Natural law is where we need to go back to. Common law
Let me,
is a step back from the Admiralty maritime law that is currently being used. See, stop thinking that you actually know more than me just because you got a PhD.
I don't have a PhD. I asked who
You were the
had
one
one.
who just asked
Well, that's
before
because
who
Robert,
has a
when he
PhD
left,
in physics.
when he
you
left,
asked, you did who else? No, meaning who else, as in you do, who else has a PhD in physics? If you're now saying you don't even have one, why would you ask who else had one?
what qualifies a PhD?
Right, Jim. Rex is only engaging with these two because he feels superior to them and wants to flex his tiny way. That's true.
How many years?
No, you're the one who said it.
I'm
man.
the one that's sitting here with 20 years study. Actually never left the classroom. Never bothered getting a graduate. Never bothered doing.
See, listen to him. Listen to him. You're in the middle of a 20-year study. On what? On what? Just how much torture you can put yourself through?
This, never bothered doing that. I don't need someone else to tell me to pick up a book. I can pick up that book, and guess what? My choice of book to pick up is going to be more detailed than theirs. My choice of book to pick up is going to be more detailed than theirs.
What other people have said. You have quoted nothing but other people. You're using what other people have said, who I have destroyed many times. You are quoting other people as your source of all of your information.
Also true, Jim.
Right? I've got a PhD in fucking everything, man, because I'm self-taught. I didn't get taught by a Rockefeller Institute.
Okay. And I don't see how we're going to have a conversation about the surface tension of plasma and why it's natural rather than it discharging at this point.
All right, okay, let's bring it back to that then.
All right. Can I insert here?
I will admit, this is a bit above and beyond me. Okay, carry on.
Well, plasma, exactly like this twin split experiment, okay, is on the verge of being matter. It has enough energy it's right at the threshold of being matter, and it's adopted the surface tension of liquid, which is one of the first easiest state, or gas, which also has a surface tension. Now, if you think that the ocean has a lot of waves in it, you step back from the globe and look at our atmosphere, and you were able to visualize that the same way you could visualize the ocean. You're going to find our atmosphere is a heck of a lot more violent than the ocean.
All right. I still believe it's a globe. They only started saying that a few hundred years ago. Before that, everyone realized it wasn't and knew what it was.
You mean the pygmy hundreds of years ago sit there and knew that we were sitting on a globe, and it took a Spanish Inquisition to say that if it was anything other than a flat Earth, that you would be dead? Are you referring to that?
No, I'm talking about like after that happened. Shit, what was his name? For some reason I'm thinking Copernicus, but that's not who I'm thinking of. There was the first person who said the Earth was a globe, got killed.
Mm-hmm.
He actually got hung for saying the Earth was a globe.
Yeah, there's a story that goes behind that, but I don't think you would have the patience for hearing it.
I'm not religious, but yeah, he got killed, like hung or whatever, because it was against what the Bible said.
No, it's against what the church said, not the Bible. The Bible doesn't say that.
It's not the first thing to say that the Earth was flat. Every religion on the planet, every belief on the planet, said the Earth was a flat plane until they started going, no, honestly, it's a globe. If you go and buy a globe right now, on the globe somewhere, you will find the disclaimer that it says not for educational purposes. Well, the globe is a way for them to put the flat Earth.
Well, first of all, it's not a globe. It's more like a potato. It's more like a potato. But nonetheless, the thing of it is, if you want to sit there and try to convince me of a flat Earth, you're going to have to get your cell phone out. You're going to have to send your friend there that's sitting beside you about 200 miles away, drive a stick into the dirt, and measure the shadow. Okay? And then we'll sit there and argue about it because you're in real time. You can get them on the phone right now. Anybody across America can pick up the cell phone and prove the flat Earth theory wrong. Just simply by driving a stick into the ground at the same time and measuring the shadow.
No, they've already proved the globe.
Yeah, we've done that 100 times. We also have satellites in orbit that sit there and
have a good night, Ian.
You want to sit there and say...
Announce it and people like you will cry when you find out.
We don't live on a flat orb, dude.
Already been proven wrong.
Can I shoot myself in the head now? Can I shoot myself in the head now? We do not live on a flat earth.
Pythagoras theorem. Serious. The first way they tried to prove it was by using Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras.
Yeah, it's not flat. It's more like a potato. Yeah, right, Rex. Rex, it is a globular object.
This theorem only works on a fucking flat plane.
Yeah, because it was all wrong to begin with. Anything that supports a flat Earth is wrong. Okay, I can sit there. You want to sit there and complain that the water across the lake doesn't bend in a couple of miles? Yeah, okay. Well, that's okay. It doesn't bend in my cup either. Okay, it'll seek a mathematical level, and it will level itself. That's what's wonderful about water. It levels itself, but the land does not. The land continues to drift away. Dude, no, I can't do this. I can't do this, man.
Rex, we use sea level as a basis.
You're breaking my brain. You can't. I can't do this. I can't.
Excellent. I have that effect on a lot of people.
Well, that's because you're talking absolute nonsense.
No, it's because I'm talking shit that you're not ready to accept.
No, quite the contrary. I found out exactly what they have done with the flat Earth theory in order to confuse everybody like yourself that wants to sit there and believe in the mystical and unexplainable and have to have a fucking conspiracy theory for everything. I've already come up with that. There's a reason that they have come up with this flat Earth theory. There's a reason that they came up with the hollow Earth theory, and the main reason is one reason and one reason only: the antiquities that they found at the South Pole. They want to confuse any information that's coming out of there and make as many idiots as possible.
See, he's got it right. He identified what the problem is. He just doesn't understand that he's right in the vortex of it. Rex, I mean. You refuse to give up any of the things that you want to believe about the things that you've taken an interest in, which all end up being a psyop by the CIA. and you want to hold on to these fantastical thoughts. Meanwhile, you're the one that's being made to look at chump because you're considering all of the nonsense rather than traditional science.
Swallow their line of BS, okay? And I've already had shows about that. I showed where the fact that man, no, I can't do this. That's a breaking of the brain. Okay, it destroys all the physics that we have been able to establish. And when you sit there and tell me that in the 1400s that China did not know that we were sitting on a globe, that's bullshit. China knew that we were sitting on the globe in the 1400s, let alone Christopher Columbus or anything else. All of these civilizations, including the little guy in the little sheepskin in order to cover his dick, okay, in Africa, never had any contact with a white man before, knows that we're sitting on a globe. And that's because of inherited truth, inherited history. Okay? So who perverted the guy? Who perverted the guy in Africa?
Wasn't it just a few minutes ago that you were championing this brilliant thought of yours, a doctor of physics, theoretical physics, like Rex Frederickson? He's got some pretty. He's got a doctorate in pseudo theoretical physics, or theoretical pseudophysics, if you will. But he was just championing all of this storage of information is upon the ether. Isn't that what he just got finished saying? Just sitting there in the ether. Right. Well, if information was just naturally stored sitting in there in the ether, you wouldn't have things like MP3 players or any sort of memory devices, no CD-ROMs or VHS tapes, not even beta.
Who perverted the guy in Africa to make him think that we were living? Who perverted the guy in Africa to make us... No, the only ones that ever believed that was the fucking Europeans. You can't show me in any other culture. You cannot show me in any other culture. Yeah.
Rex, you need to stop reacting and learn to respond a little bit more, just like your description says in most of your videos.
No, like I said, you're breaking my brain, dude. You're breaking my brain.
The only reason that they started saying it's a globe is so they could start saying they were flying into space. Space is fucking gay. It's all bullshit.
Okay. All right. Listen. Even if I was to set up, I've seen the model that the flat earthers. You gonna let me talk? Are you gonna let me talk? Even the flat earthers come down with this mechanical model to show somehow how the sun comes across, how Venus will sit there and suddenly do a loop. And you want to know something? You want to know something? It was destroyed. It was utterly destroyed when one man discovered that we were not the center of the goddamn universe, that we are actually a satellite of the sun. Now, you want to go back and argue that?
The sun is under the firmament.
Can I jump in something?
Oh, please.
Something that I've heard. There's a big lake in the States. I think it's Chicago or something like that. And you can see directly across the lake. And that's like 60 odd kilometres. You shouldn't be able to see the city on the other side.
Well, that's what light refraction is. You shouldn't be able to see a boat on the Mississippi. You should not see a boat on the Mississippi. You should not be able to see the boat on the Mississippi if it was flat Earth floating in the sky. You can't do it. You cannot sit there and create the mirage. It is a well-known, documented mirage that shows a... Oh my God, we're just talking over each other.
You actually know about? Go back to plasma. Stop talking about this shit, because you're fucking wrong.
You cannot sit there and see. There is no mathematical way for you to see a steamboat on the Mississippi in the middle of the Arizona desert, okay, unless you explain round Earth, not flat. Can't do it with a flat Earth. You cannot create that
I don't even know
projection
what you're
with a
talking
flat
about.
Earth. You don't know what that is. It's called a mirage. It's been well documented all the way through the West. They'd sit there and look to the east, and they'd see trees in the sky. They would see the... No, dude, you cannot explain any of that. Not with a flat Earth. You can try.
About anything.
You can try, but you can't. You can't explain it.
Definitely didn't lie to you about anything. Fucking wake up, bro.
You can't explain that with a flat Earth.
Go back to a topic you actually know.
Flat Earth is wrong. We
This
got to
is
start
getting
with a foundation. We got
No,
to...
this is getting pointless. Go back to something you actually know about. What?
Rex knows
I
all
do
about
this
flat
shit
Earth.
all the time.
All right, well, I do appreciate... I would like a chance in order to talk to Vinny, if possible.
Don't worry. I am better at challenging people about the shit they say than almost...
So now Rex tries to shut him down by saying, well, I want to mute you and see what Vinny here has to say. I'm sorry. Rex joined their live stream.
anyone else. As I said, we can keep talking offline after the show and carry on later.
No, I'm going to switch over.
I'm actually very, very good at all this.
I'm going to switch over to Vinny for a while, so I'm going to mute you for a few minutes, okay?
All right. That's enough Rex for one night, friends. Thanks for joining in, and I'll see you back in the morning now that I'm allowed to stream. Peace. Thanks for making it through this far.